Hey guys, what's up? You've come back. Thank you so much for supporting me in my YouTube channel. Woo! Today I'm going to talk about not my first, but my second labor and delivery, and my pregnancy is pretty much normal, so I breezed through that right into my labor and delivery with Margaux. So, Margaux's my second pregnancy, my second baby. Anyways, it was like a very normal pregnancy. I actually got pregnant with her on accident. I'm a fertile myrtle, I guess. I don't know. As a matter of fact, Rosalie was like 16, 17 months when Margaux was born. So 16 minus 9 is what, 7 months? Rosalie was 7 months old when we got pregnant with Margaux. That is not when I was thinking about having another kid. No. As a matter of fact, my pregnancy with Rosalie was so awful, I wasn't gonna get pregnant with another kid for like a long time. A good long time. And instead, ta-da! I actually cried. It was not my goal at the time. It ended up being a really good thing. I was very normalized. My previous experience was scary, and this was like super normal. I still got sick, but I really enjoyed how I went into labor. I wasn't induced this time around, and it was fantastic. I was 36 weeks. I went in for my check. They check you like every week from like, what is it, 34 weeks onto 40 weeks, and like every week from then. I think they only let you go a couple weeks past your due date. I was there at my 36-week appointment, and I was like, look, I'm kind of like feeling things down there, like pressure down there, and I want you to check me out. And they're like, okay, it's only 36 weeks, but we'll do like a cervical exam and everything. So things have to be like tilted forward and opened up for you to begin labor. And some people are even dilated where their cervix is open for like weeks. And like some people have their placenta like already coming out. And she went to check me and nothing. Like literally nothing. I didn't have anything dilated. My cervix was actually tilted backwards, so it was like not even like aligned with the vaginal canal to like, you know, exit. And so I was like really kind of like confused. I went back home and did life as normal. I tried to be somewhat active. 37 weeks rolls around. It was the night before my appointment. Curtis and I had sex. I kind of felt uncomfortable, like I couldn't really go to sleep. But that's not like the weirdest thing when you're pregnant, like especially later on, like you're huge, you can't lay on your back, laying on your side gets uncomfortable, your hips hurt, your back hurts, like everything, you're hungry, you're nauseous, blah, blah, blah. I was just like uncomfortable. I couldn't go to sleep. I had really bad periods when I was a teenager, so it kind of felt like a little bit of cramping, just like discomfort. It was like 11 o'clock. Let me check my watch. It was 11 o'clock when I tried to go to bed, and I couldn't. And I was stressed about having the baby. I was working full-time at the time from home doing billing for an urgent care facility, and I wanted everything to be really caught up or as much as I could. And so I was like, I can't go to sleep. I'm just gonna stay up and actually work. So I did. I stayed up and I worked and I did as much as I could. And, you know, I still couldn't like go to sleep. It was like midnight. I think I'm in labor. Am I in labor? I knew about the 411 or the 511 rule. Oh my gosh. Every 5 minutes, you have a contraction that lasts a minute for an hour. So it's a repeated process. And I just like had my phone out. I was obviously awake, and I just had like the stopwatch timer thing on my phone. I just like would keep like ding, ding, and then I could go back and see like when my last contractions were, and it started to follow a pattern. And finally I was like, okay, I'm in labor. It's not like super consistent, like I wasn't every like 5 minutes exactly. I started to plan my vacation. I have to say, pregnancy is really hard, and we had a little kid who was like 16 months, and I felt like in order for Curtis and I to survive having a newborn, I needed to have a vacation planned. It was really hard with Rosalie, my first kid, so I knew it was going to be even harder the second time around. So that was what I did. I planned our vacation to Cancun. It was beautiful. I am so glad that I planned it. And I mean, it was fun. I went through like all of the resorts in Cancun, like every single one, and figured out which one I wanted to go to, you know, comparing price and location and things included. All-inclusive resorts sometimes are like, yeah, you get dinner. I'm like, no, I'm in Cancun. You better be feeding me. It's like 3, 4 in the morning. And finally, I realized like Curtis had not packed a labor and delivery bag. And I was like, I expect him to be at the hospital with me, so he's gonna need a few things. And I go to actually wake him up, and he's not too happy about waking up. I'm like, babe, wake up. And he's like, what? And I'm like, no, I think I'm in labor, so I think you like really actually need to wake up. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I've not been able to go to sleep yet, and yeah, I've been having contractions, and I've been keeping track of it, and I actually tried to lay back down for a little bit, really couldn't go to sleep. So he gets up and he packs a few things, and he like looks at a couple of things online, and he's like, babe, I think that you're supposed to like be breathing through these contractions, like they're supposed to be pretty rough. And I'm like, babe, I am breathing through my contractions. Okay. Oh man, I just wanted to kill him. He was not convinced by the fact that I was in labor, but since I was up since 11 o'clock the night before, I was pretty sure. I actually decided Curtis was gonna go back to sleep. We were gonna leave for the hospital at 6 in the morning because there wasn't anyone awake. There's nowhere we could put Rosalie, and I wasn't like dying yet. So Curtis like went back to sleep, and I went downstairs to watch some shows. At this point, I haven't watched like anything, and it had to be something like pretty distracting at this point, and I had myself peanut butter sandwich and some milk. I knew that I was going to be in the hospital probably for a little while, and they weren't going to feed me anything. They don't feed you anything while you're in labor. No food. It's wrong. I ate my little snacky snack, and then we packed up Rosalie in the car. We woke her up, drove her to the hospital. I had texted my mother-in-law. She works at a school, so I know she'd have to be awake at some point. I didn't want to call her. I mean, who would really wake up to a phone call at 4 in the morning? I don't even have my phone on. It goes into like night mode. It doesn't ring at 4 in the morning. So I figured she'd see it when she woke up. And she calls us actually when we're driving to the hospital, like, hey, is this really happening? And we're like, yep, we're going to the hospital. We've got Rosalie in the car, and I'm actually texting like people from my church, like, is there any way you could watch Rosalie? Is there any way you could watch Rosalie? I know their kids had to go to school. It was March, so definitely school is happening. And they're like, no response, no response, no response. I get to the hospital, and they check me out. They go to check you in, and it's like very much the like curtain rod, like there's no separation between you and the next bed. And I'm like coming in, and I'm like, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm labor. Come and check me out. And they're like, okay, we've got to weigh you. Just wait a second. And I'm like, okay, you know, you're just like, okay, whenever it's convenient for you. And then I hear from the other door, like, okay, so this is the curtain. And it's like, oh my gosh, was a lady right next to me in the next curtain closed room, no wall. Freaking the nurse goes to check her and she's like, oh my gosh, you're dilated 210. And the lady's like, I need to push. And I'm like sitting on the other side of this thing. And I'm like, and the nurse that's with me is like, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go check on her. I'm like, oh my gosh, please go. The lady's like, oh my gosh, I need to push. And the nurse is just like, no, don't push. Your OB's not here yet. We don't have you in a room. Don't push. We're gonna get you in a room. And I'm just sitting over here like elevator music, like dee, 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 dee. She's just about to have her baby in her bed over there, like no big deal. The nurse finally comes to check on me, and I'm a 4, so they're going to admit me. Everyone's experiences are different, but if you enjoyed this story and you want to hear more from me, blah blah, please subscribe down below, support my journey. You're gonna want to see our next video, of course. We've got design projects that we work on, and I figured I'd show you guys what I got for my birthday. Have a great day, guys. Bye.